Hey everybody, welcome back. I hope everybody's week's been great. Mine's been busy. In another video that I'm going to put out this week, you're going to see the boat parts coming in. Really exciting stuff on that. But in this video, we're back working on where the wildflowers are. So I last left you, we were using the grapple to get all the logs and limbs out. Off camera, we used what's called a landscape rake. That's this attachment here on the back of the tractor. And the idea is that it just smooths the ground out. It picks up big rocks, limbs, big things. It's a lot easier than hand raking it. But instead of using it in this position, we're going to turn it around backwards. That way it drags a little more smoothly. And we're just going to turn the ground up to get ready to plant our wildflowers. Again, we have 11 pounds of wildflowers. Should be more than enough to do this area. And then we're going to put some fertilizer down with it. It's Ohio, so that means it's also a rainforest. If you're from Ohio or the Midwest here, we can't get away from rain. It's supposed to rain again tonight. Well, enough complaining. Let's get to work. So what I really like about this piece is I can rotate it 360 degrees around. And now we can pull in this direction and make it a little easier so it's not tearing stuff up. It's just kind of smoothing and rolling the dirt up so it accept that seed. Okay, I think the dirt is prepared enough that it needs to be for our purposes here. So again, this is just to grow wildflowers, A, because it's pretty, and B, because we're getting honeybees. Like I said in the first video, I know these aren't going to be ready for this year's honeybees, but certainly they will be for next year. So we have 11 pounds of seed, all from American Meadows. This is not sponsored. We paid for all of this. We have 5 pounds of honeybee mix, 2 pounds of native woodland edge wildflower seeds, 2 pounds of native Midwest wildflower seeds, and 2 pounds of Midwest wildflower, a little bit of sunflower seeds from our good friends, our neighbors. So I think how I'm going to do is I'm just going to mix all this together so that it's a wide variety. We have a little handheld job, so I think I'll be able to have a little bit more control. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit of a pain because I don't have a quantity. And then down here off camera, I have a 5-gallon bucket of fertilizer that we had left over from the yard. So nothing to do but to do it. All right, all of these bags are sufficiently mixed. I'm happy with that. We gotta make sure we don't spill this. These seeds were pretty expensive, if I'm honest, for seeds. I hope they do well. Oh my gosh. All right. Perfect, huh? Let's see what this looks like. Let's go way more than that. This is gonna take legitimately forever. This probably wasn't a great idea. Hey, welcome back, folks. Another week, and hopefully another episode. We have been so busy. I'm not trying to make excuses, but I've been busier than a one-legged man and a you-know-what kicking contest. So we're not boat building just yet. I've been working on welding, and it's not bad. It's a long process, to be honest. It takes a lot of practice to where I want to, be to put my family in this boat. At any rate, today's project, we're going to continue with the bee project. So tomorrow, the gentleman is bringing the beehives. So we need to build some sort of a beehive stand. I'm going over the top on this. I know I am. I could have used cinder blocks and some 4x4s, but it's just not how I want to do it. And so I have a really neat project for us today. If we have time, right over here, we need to do a 50-hour service on my Kubota B2601. So hopefully we'll get to that. And another delay we had, Shop Kitty here. I could have strangled him. I'll show you in another video. We were out working on the wildflower spot, and he knocked the camera stand over. And when he did, he broke the microphone adapter that goes into my camera. So that took a little while to get here. The first one I ordered came from China, but I didn't anticipate. The second one I ordered off of Amazon, and it was here in 3 days. So I now have 2 of those. That way, if this little guy tears it up, we got another one. So sit back, enjoy, and my shop helper and I are going to get started. Okay, so what we have here is 6 2x6x8s, 4 2x4x8s, and 4 4x4x8s. We have 2 sheets of steel roof metal in the truck. We'll get those to it in a minute. So I have the drawings drawn out. Let me show those to you right now. Okay, so I got it pulled up here on the monitor. This is the look we're going for. So obviously you can tell the 4x4s here, 2x6s for everything here, 2x4s for the roof rafters, and then the sheet, corrugated sheet steel for the roof. 36 inches wide, 72 inches long, and 60 inches tall. It doesn't need to be very tall, just tall enough that I can separate the beehives. But it'll actually be a little taller than 60 because I'm going to cut. This measurement should be 60 inches here to here. I just messed that up because I'm not a CAD person. So we need 2 pieces, 36 inches. We're going to cut those first, and then 2 pieces, 72 inches. There are very few things that are as nice as a brand new set of safety glasses. I don't know if you're like me, every pair I have, which I have about 5 pair up there, gets scratched and scuffed and torn up. Bought some new ones. Good thing I go to the gym. Well, with some fussing and fighting, we got this thing together. I was having an issue with it not being plumb. We got it. So what I discovered with that, though, is we're going to need 45-degree angle braces because we're going to have to move this with the tractor. And I don't want to put all this work into it and then pick it up with the tractor and then it get all cattywampus. So I think we have an idea of how we're going to do the angle braces. Luckily, in our woodshed, we still had leftover 2x6s from another project. So we didn't have to run to the local hardware store, which is rare. It seems like every project you do, you have to go back to the hardware store at least once. So we're going to get these angle braces in. Yeah, let's get to work. Okay. So one of the things I think we're going to run into is that this bit, like that, likes to stay stuck into the screws. So we're going to put a piece of tape over this. And then we're going to send her home. Hey, grab me a hammer. We're going to hammer it in there because I can get it out. But I'm going to play real hard press to get it out of here. Maybe? I don't know. Buddy, that seems tight. Yeah, I like that a lot. Whoa, my bit came out. Yeah. Well, you remember earlier when I said usually during a project you have to go back? I messed up. So my planning didn't account for the spacing of the ribs. And when I put this at 76 inches wide, that messed up my rib counting. Long of the short of it is I'm one piece short. It was going to be like 3 inches or 6. Sorry, it's going to be like 6 inches shorter. Now, I could cut the frame down 6 inches, but dude, we took forever to get this thing square and plumb. And quite frankly, I think the sheet of corrugated steel was like $30. For me, it's worth it. We'll get another sheet, and now we're going to have a 12-inch eave on either side. Before, we were just going to have it flush. Now we'll have a 12-inch eave on each side. That'll provide more protection for the rain on the sides. So, yeah, double check your measurements, or don't, and go back to the hardware store. Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's a new day. By the time we got back from the hardware store last night, it was like 9:45. I was tired. Right now, it's 10:30. The beehive guy is coming around 1 p.m. So we better work fast. Let's get to it, guys. So what we're doing is we're getting the midpoints set up for our trusses. Gosh, what did I say now? 38. Well, it looks to be in line. I think so. Let me get this other side. Okay, so we're just gonna run a roof rafter straight down. Okay, I know it's been a little bit of a gap and we jumped ahead, but I gotta get this done. The guy's gonna be here in about an hour. So here's kind of a look from the bottom, how we did it. Again, I know that's a little bit of a jump, but I had to focus really on getting it done. It's going pretty well. Really, it's just the time constraints. There'll be a floor down here, that's next. So ridge cap and floor, we're getting there. All right, guys. Oh man, I'm really excited. So right now, time is 1:44. He's not here yet. And we still have to move it into place, which I'll get you guys on record of that. We're gonna use the tractor. But man, I'm thrilled with how that looks. Perfect. The issue we're having, the tractor feels really tippy. It's a lot of weight, a lot of high. This tree's in the way, and I'm just gonna cut it down. That way I can get it in here. The beehive guy just called. He's about 10 minutes away. I got my helper bringing me my saw. We'll get this cut down. Well, everybody, we got the beehive house down here. Travis from Frontline Hives is here. We're going to get everything set up, and then he's going to show us how to release them. I'm not allergic to bees, and that's a good thing. So let's give this a whirl. The side facing away from you is the front. Okay. So just make sure when you put it down, you spin it so it's facing out. Roger that. And then don't bump the strip in the front until you're ready to release the front. Admittedly, that's heavier than I expected. It's a good thing. All right. Hey guys, we're gonna let these bees out, and I would lie if I wasn't a little apprehensive. So, Travis, you do it. I'm gonna put my sleeves down because I'm a sissy.
All right.
All right, here they go.
You ready? Right here.
Oh. Well, yep. So the one thing Travis was telling us was, as the bees come out, they will start to circle kind of around their little entry port right there. And that is them trying to figure out where they are.
So
and,
if you look at them flying, these ones actually aren't rushing out too fast. But if you look at them flying, they're doing what's called an orientation flight. So they're doing like a figure eight inside of their, in front of their hive.
I see that, yeah.
And that's them learning what their hive looks like. And then they're also positioning themselves or orientating themselves to the sun. So if they find flowers, they can actually come back and they'll do that thing called the waggle dance.
Okay.
And that'll actually draw other bees to wherever they're going. So they're using that orientation flight right now to kind of orient themselves to the sun for when they go foraging.
Wow, that's really neat. Really neat. Now, no concerns with the ones on the right being sleepy?
No concerns. I'll throw my suit on and pop them real quick just to make sure. But yeah, sometimes they come rushing out, sometimes they don't.
Okay.
Might have a lazy batch.
Well, they'll fit right in here.
Lazy batch of bees.
I love it. Great. Well, man, I'm excited. I think this is going to be a good spot for them.
Good.
Well, this project's completed. So I'm absolutely thrilled with how the beehive hut, hell, I don't know what you call it. This started out something very simple, and as in true fashion, this is what it turned into. But I think it looks great. It really goes with kind of the theme of our property. So as you can see, we're all woods, very hilly, and I think it fits with that feel. Now we do have some other boxes to go on. The one on the right side has an excluder to go on top, but we're going to let them rest, let them get used to their new environment before we do that. So probably next week we'll put that on, and we'll keep an eye on them. We're going to keep making videos on the bees. Once it comes time to harvest the honey, We're going to be sure to do some videos on that. And we already sell, I've mentioned it before, we sell firewood at a local store in town. And we'll start selling some honey as well. Guys, thanks so much for this week. We didn't get to the tractor. Next week we'll get to it, and we'll get back to building the boat. All right, guys, thanks so much. See you next time.